Happy, magical, miracle-filled, manifesting Monday to you. If you're hanging out with me live, I'm so grateful you're taking part of your day to connect. And if you're watching after the fact or on YouTube or my channel, I'm still incredibly honored. I want to share with you something today that has been incredibly helpful, revelatory, and supportive in my life. And it started with a conversation. I'm going to tell you why I decided to talk about this today. And it started with a conversation with a friend of mine. We were just having a lovely little chat. And I had posted something on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it. It was a picture of a hummingbird. And the statement from the hummingbird was, "I shall sip nectar from this flower in a silent ballet." And then there was a woodpecker. And the woodpecker said, "I'm going to stab the bugs out of this tree with my face knife." And my friend had said, "I feel like I have both of those aspects in me." And I said, that is really a wonderful awareness. And I think so many of us do. I love to say, "Hi, Kathy, how are you?" Know thyself. I've talked about this a lot. Know thyself. But I think it's important to know thyself. All of us have aspects within us. We're not just one self. Our soul self is the umbrella, but then we have aspects of ourselves under this umbrella. So they could be called aspects, they could be called archetypes, they could be called subpersonalities. Years ago, I was introduced to this when I went through an astrologer, this notion, and she looked at my charts and my rising sign and my moon sign. We all have a rising sign where the sun was when we were born, and then we have our moon sign where the moon was. So our rising sign is the aspect of us that we present to the world. So my rising sign was Leo, and my moon sign is the hermit, the metaphysical hermit. So she said, "I bet a lot of people are really confused by you and actually don't like you very much because you present with this aspect, which is the almost like the Barbie, the hair, the makeup. It's like want to be seen, extrovert. But the true self, the part of us that is nurtured at the end of the day, when we shut the door, can be very different than what we present to the world." And for me, it was radically different. My true self is the metaphysical hermit. Later, when I went to school, when I went to USM, we started exploring subpersonalities. So I got really clear I have these very different aspects or subpersonalities. I have Barbie and I have the nun. So Barbie is the extrovert that wants to be out there, likes fashion, likes to make people laugh, likes to be extroverted. My inner nun likes to be alone, likes to meditate, likes to make her relationship with the divine the utmost priority. So I would get myself in trouble a lot. Another aspect, hey James, happy to see you too. Face knife, wasn't that funny? I thought it was hysterical myself. George Frisbee sent me that, so I put it to some pictures, and it just brought me great joy, and I was happy to ripple that out. So all of us also have the aspect, the inner subpersonality of the inner child. So I would do this thing and get myself into a little bit of trouble when I was dating years ago. Barbie would be the one that would be flirtatious and coy and try to get men interested in her. We would go on a date and maybe they would try to, let's say, come on to me or try to, get physical. And my inner nun would then say, "Oh, no, I'm spiritual. That's inappropriate." And then I would find myself crying. So different aspects of myself were in the driver's seat at different times. So if I was out and about and saw somebody I was attracted to, Barbie would be in the driver's seat. If we were on a date, then it seems like the nun would end up in the driver's seat. And then the inner child would end up in the driver's seat. So very different aspects, almost like, a friend of mine, when I introduced her to this, she goes, "I feel like I'm a little bit schizophrenic." I said, "We all are." We just need to become aware of these aspects of ourselves so that they can play well with one another. Where we get in trouble is where we don't know about these inner aspects, and they're kind of pulling the strings from behind the scenes. It's sort of like, if you can imagine, having a kayak on a lake, and you have different people in the kayak, and they all have their own intentions and agendas about where they want to go and how they want to get there. And if they're not aware of each other, they end up fighting, they end up making a mess, they end up spinning around, creating a lot of energy that's not productive. It's not moving any of us closer to our destination, the shore, wherever it is you want to go. then we may conclude, when life is just messy and not working out for us, that we are somehow unworthy of what we desire. We may feel like we are unloved by that something greater. And none of this is true. We are all absolutely loved and adored by a benevolent creator. But often, if we're not aware of these different aspects of ourselves, it's almost like we battle ourselves to a standstill. We can have our foot on the accelerator and brake at the same time. We can end up taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, 17 steps back. It can be a very unpleasant, uncomfortable, messy situation. So this is an example of how the different aspects might show up in your life. Say, for instance, somebody invites you to a party and you say yes, and then it gets closer to this party time and you're like, oh, I really don't want to go. It's sort of like maybe the aspect that said yes was a different aspect. So it's sort of like if you were to say, well, part of me wants to go and a part of me doesn't. That's legitimate. You can actually go, okay, what part of me wants to go? What part of me doesn't? You may start to get clear that there are different aspects, different versions of yourself within yourself. Perhaps you're a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. Or like me, part country mouse and part city mouse. Maybe you're part extrovert and part introvert. So there's a lot of different aspects inside of each and every one of us. And these aspects can have many different talents, thoughts, ideas, ways of expressing themselves, gifts, talents, propensities, strengths, weaknesses, different things that bring them joy. And again, we can get in trouble because they can be very diverse and maybe incongruent. And that's what we call incongruent subpersonalities. But we want to get to the place where we're aware of these aspects and they can start to play well with one another. So again, I had a Barbie, a nun, and my inner child. They were very different, radically different. Barbie likes to go out, be seen, be beautiful. The inner nun wants to be left alone at home to meditate and create. And the inner child just wants to play, laugh, make everybody happy, and have a good time. Again, I got in trouble when they weren't aware of each other. Once I became aware, I started doing this thing inside of myself where I would have round table discussions, almost like family therapy with my different aspects, sitting down and having them be able to communicate with one another. And at first, it wasn't very pretty. The nun and the Barbie really didn't like each other. There was a lot of judgment. The Barbie thought the nun was kind of a hag. The nun thought Barbie was kind of a floozy. So it wasn't easy at first getting them to have conversations. There was a lot of internal judgment inside of myself. And that is actually why I feel like I experienced so much judgment. Hi, Natalie. I'm so happy to be connecting with you as well. So my inner judgment was showing up as a reflection of my life with outer judgment. It's, again, our lives are a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. And so much of our relationship with ourselves can be subconscious, like unaware. We can be unaware of our different aspects. You're going to send me something, James? James, I would love to see that. So yeah, send it on over and we'll have the conversation. So this, again, can be stated in a lot of different ways. There's something called internal family systems. And it's a way of looking at the different aspects and starting to become aware of them and start to work together as a whole, a cohesive, healthy family. And you can actually Google search that, internal family system worksheet, and then download that and do that. I found it to be a little bit heady. It wasn't, it was a little bit too much for me. It wasn't that much fun. It started to lose my interest. So I created a guided meditation called Inner Aspects Guided Meditation, which is just, you know me, I love guided meditations. Sitting and listening and allowing the subconscious mind to reveal whatever it is that needs to come forward. So if you email me or message me and ask for that, I will send it over. Be very interested in your experience of it. So I want to share with you some different possibilities for inner aspects. So some of these may resonate for you. You may go, that is something that I feel like I do have within myself. It could be a businessman or an artist, an academic, a writer, a yogi, maybe a fireman or a policeman. Maybe there's a rebel or an equestrian. For me, I have a nun and Barbie. There's a fashionista, a student, a lover, a parent. There's the hero or savior. There's a magician, the shaman, the actor, the trickster, comedian, fairy, angel, seductress, judge, mermaid, hermit, ballerina, barbarian, athlete. Actually, it is infinite. There are many different aspects, and they can express in a lot of different ways. And I think we have primary subpersonalities, and then there could be secondary or peripheral subpersonalities. And I've had some be integrated by one of my primaries and then be eliminated. It could be a temporary aspect that's just showing up for a little while because it wants expression. They can be different genders, they can be different ages, they can be different species. We could even have aliens, and they can come forward as characters, people, or animals. For instance, my Barbie can come forward as maybe like a unicorn. The nun could be something like a metaphysical, like bear, like he doesn't want to come out of the cave. And then my inner child, she seems like a little bit of a clumsy koala bear to me. She's kind of clumsy and sleepy and kind of fun and funny and just wants to make people happy. So I think it, again, is so important for us to understand that there are different aspects and to be curious about them, to invite them forward in our lives and ask them, what are your intentions? What matters most to you? How would you like to express yourself in the world? And I've had people come forward to me in counseling when we've had these conversations, and they've maybe tapped into an aspect that they didn't like, that they judged. And it's like, you know what? I don't like that one. I'm going to cut it out of me. I'm going to banish it. I'm like, no, you don't really want to do that, because it's a way of denying our expression. Perhaps they're not coming forward as something lovely, but perhaps it's because they have been judged or haven't been given an opportunity to express. What I know for sure is if we go deep enough into any of our aspects, their intention is to have expression and to be loving. And I think, like, for instance, my aspects of the inner nun and Barbie, they judged each other, they fought, they battled themselves to a standstill, and then my life was messy and chaotic, and I was judged a lot. And so once I started to understand about these parts and they started talking to each other, they got beyond their negative projections. Like I mentioned, Barbie thought the nun was a hag and ugly. And the way she showed up in my mind, she was kind of skinny and she had a bad habit on. And she didn't really care about fashion. The nun judged Barbie because she felt like, you know what, you're a floozy. You just care about what people think and you want to be sexy. And so I judged myself within myself. Different aspects of myself judged myself within myself. So life is not going to show up as grace-filled, beautiful, joyful, peaceful, graceful, easy, not until I got to the place of not judging myself within myself. Today, they are very good friends, all of them, my inner child, Barbie, the nun. They really enjoy each other, and each one of them, each aspect gets to express, gets to create, gets to play. Sometimes I'll hear music playing when I'm driving, and I can actually see them in my mind's eye dancing together and celebrating, each one looking very different and having the opportunity to enjoy the attention of one another and just express and have fun. And so I hope that something here is sort of like sparking some interest in you or resonating for you on some level. It's like, you know what? This is bringing up some really interesting possibilities within myself. And so you can play and explore and experiment with the different aspects in you and hopefully get to the place of each of your inner aspects enjoying each other, listening deeply to each other, becoming friends. It really is about becoming really good friends within ourselves becoming good friends within ourselves, so that we get to experience a more whole, congruent, aligned life. As I started in the beginning, we are our souls, but underneath the soul are different aspects. And once those aspects are aware, once those aspects create and play together in a friendly way, a self-respecting, appreciative way, our lives show up so much more gracefully, easily, peacefully, sweetly. It's fun. It's really life can become what it was intended to be, which is again a cosmic love affair, which is a celebration. But it does seem to take a little while to know ourselves, and get to this place of becoming whole. So to me, that's what this really is all about. It's about inviting the fractured parts of yourself forward, and again, becoming aware, listening, talking, discussing, expressing, bringing compassion to the different aspects, healing any kind of judgment within ourselves. And that is one of my favorite revelations from when I went to school. We heal when we bring love and compassion to the places inside that hurt. My inner nun was hurt because she was being judged by Barbie. My Barbie was hurt because the inner nun was judging her. And so they battled. They battled to be right. They battled for expression. They battled to be heard. And again, that just created more chaos in my life and prevented me from getting to the destination of grace, peace, ease, heaven on earth, joy, and great love. So once the projections and the judgment stopped, once I started listening with the intention to understand myself more deeply, and the nun started listening to what Barbie wanted, and Barbie started listening to what the nun wanted, and they both started listening to what the inner child wanted. Ultimately, they all wanted the same thing, which was to just express and create and play and be in our loving. But we have to heal the judgments. We have to heal the hurts and get to that place of more kindness, more compassion, more love within and for ourselves. And as we do that in an authentic way and we become more whole within ourselves, we can show up in a more whole, compassionate, congruent way in our lives. And that's how we really become a light worker. And it's rather effortless. It's not about doing anything. It's about being whole. It's about being in our loving. It's about sharing the love that we have within ourselves, rippling that out in the world. And as we become more clear, we see others more clearly, and we show up in a more kind, peaceful, loving way. And to me, that's when life can get really fun. That's when life starts to show up in a more miraculous and miracle-filled way. So I hope you're seeing some God winks and experiencing some grace. And again, I would really be very interested if you download the Internal Family Systems Worksheet, what you get from that. And if you want the guided meditation about meeting your inner aspects, I would be happy to give that to you. Just mention something here on the thread, or you can message me with your email address. I'll need your email address, and then I'll just send you an MP3 about that. And if this conversation is bringing forward for you any thoughts or ideas about your aspects, I'm very interested in hearing about that. I think this is such fun, and it's been so helpful and revelatory in my life. And again, if I'm opening your mind to certain possibilities, that's my pleasure, honor, and privilege. And I would like to continue the conversation about the different aspects you're becoming aware of within yourself, any of your own personal revelations or awarenesses. That to me is just such great fun. Revelations, awarenesses, epiphanies, synchronicities, these are all the conversations that I love to have as we continue to heal and ascend and go to higher ground of heaven on earth. So I would love, 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 love to hear from you. Be in touch. Let me know how it's going. Let me know if you want this MP3. Let me know if you do the worksheet. Or if you just do it, you don't even need to do any of that. You can just sit down and go, what aspects are in me? And you can just do it as an internal experience, or maybe you want to write some things down and just allow it to unfold for you in your own authentic, unique way. I think once we start asking the questions, the answers can start to show up both internally and externally. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That brings me great joy, Natalie, because of the work I've been and the conversations I've been providing, you are seeing proof of the key universe we have inside of us. And we do. I think if we're breathing, the universe is inside of us. If we're breathing, we're not doing that for ourselves. That is, I think it's the electrical impulse of the universe, which is love, that's beating the heart and breathing us. So to become more aware of that and aligned with that and congruent with that, as we, again, become just more conscious of the things that are unconscious, we can align with our super conscious, which is, again, love. So it's sort of like that umbrella: conscious, subconscious, super conscious. And I think sometimes the aspects and subpersonalities that are in the subconscious mind could also be aspects that we've carried into this life from past lives. Like, I really literally believe I was a nun in a past life. It's a big part of who I am. It's a big part of my contract and curriculum in this life. And I don't think we all are so necessarily as diverse as I was. I think that's why my life was so challenging, or maybe we are. I don't know. I just really care about what your experience is, what your thoughts are, what's coming forward for you. And I want to know if there's any way that I can support you. You know, my intention is just to live a life of great love and to hold as many people's hands as I can as I get to the higher and higher and higher ground of peace, refined energy, grace, ease, and heaven on earth. So if there's anything I can do to support you, just know that would be my honor, pleasure, and privilege. And every morning, I've mentioned this before, I start my day with meditation. And one of the things that I ask for is that my community here on Facebook experiences that sense of sweetness and love that's there for them, for you, that you're experiencing profound love and God winks and grace, clarity, and support in your own life. And if I can be a part of that anyway through this forum, again, that is my pleasure, honor, privilege, and I really do believe my life's purpose. In the past, I used to think to myself, too much is happening, not enough is happening, too much is happening, not enough is happening. That, again, was my Barbie and my nun. Barbie wanted more to happen, the nun wanted less to happen. And now, because they're aware of each other and I become more congruent, just the right amount is happening. And part of that is just that I can connect with you on Mondays or whenever you want to see this. And that there's a lot of peace, but I'm also able to share what I know has worked for me, and do that through my radio show, do that through this, do this through email and conversation. And it's a really beautiful balance. You know, we all have to find our own unique shape and our own particular balance. And if I can support you in doing that in any way, again, my pleasure, honor, privilege, and life's purpose. So it's wonderful to connect with you, Natalie and James. And I am so grateful, Brenda and Kathy, I'm so grateful for your presence in my life, that you show up so consistently here, and you're consistently in my heart. And again, my meditation and my prayers. If there's anything I can do to support you, please, please, please don't hesitate to send me an email, say something on this thread, message me, let me know how you're doing, share with me any of your own revelations. And if you have a prayer request, know that that would be my honor to have that conversation with the universe on your behalf. When two or more come together, it is guaranteed that God is with us. And if I can be one of your two to support you in any way and aligning more fully with your higher self and source, again, I can't think of anything that would bring my inner Barbie, nun, or my inner child greater joy, other than maybe going to see my horse, which I'm going to go do now. So please take good, gentle care of yourself. And again, be in touch. Let's continue the conversation. And thank you, Natalie. That does bring me joy. For a little while, I was wondering if this was helping anybody. And I was like, God, if nobody's showing up, I'm just going to go play with my horse. And he goes, how many people do you need for your ego to be satisfied? And that made me laugh. He's always dropping the mic when I do my meditations. But it is nice to have a couple of people or more connecting and letting me know that it's supporting you, because that is my intention. And again, my hope and prayer and desire. getting hot in Leavenworth. I sure wish it was getting a little warmer here in Boise. It's been a little chilly, but I know summer's on its way, so I'm going to enjoy this spring season. And again, thank you, Natalie. You touch my heart, my sweet soul sister. And my friends, let's continue the talk, be in conversation, and let me know how I can support you. God bless you. Take good, gentle care of yourself. And thank you, Natalie. I love you. I love each and every one of you. And let's just continue to ascend to the higher ground of the truth of who we are, which is love, which is compassion, which is abundance, which is prosperity, which is creativity. And thank you, Brenda. It's fun. It's fun to sing God's praises in my own unique way. The singing didn't work, so I'm singing his praises in this way. And I think that's what we're all here to do, to celebrate the divine through our unique expression. So I hope you're doing that. I hope you're enjoying the incredible experience of being you. You are a gift. You are a profound expression of the divine. Don't ever doubt that. And if you do, be in touch and let me encourage you. Okay? So take good, gentle, loving care of yourselves. And let's continue the conversation, however it resonates for you. God bless you. Onward and upward. Bye for now.